So let's start, Peter. So what do you make of the current season in England? Like, how do you see the battle for the title? And what's your opinion on your old club, Liverpool? Actually, they finally won the championship last year. How do you see them this season?
Yeah, I think it's been quite a strange season, obviously because of the pandemic, but it's been quite exciting. You know, there's been some really good games. There's been some high-scoring games. You know, so it's been quite exciting. You know, it's a disappointment for the crowd, as in is it no crowd. You know, I know Liverpool and Everton have had fans in recently, and Arsenal had a game before the lockdown, if you like. But no, it's been a strange season, but it's been an exciting one. And you know, if you're Arsenal, it's probably not exciting. But for most of the other teams, when you look at Aston Villa, how well they played, you know, it's a big difference to the top six, what would normally be the top six. So Leicester are doing well. It's quite exciting, you know. And
absolutely, yeah. And who do you fancy for the title this season? There are not clear-cut favorites like last 3 years, but who do you think that will win it at the end?
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if Liverpool don't win it. I'm not saying they will win it, but I'd be surprised if they don't. I think when you look at what Klopp did last year, it was amazing. You know, it was absolutely incredible. And I know Van Dijk is a big miss in any team. But to be fair to Liverpool, you know, since he got injured, they haven't really conceded many goals. You know, I know they've had to bring Matip in and, you know, move people around. But Fabinho has played at centre-back. But generally, you know, when I see football, Andre, I see the most attacking teams are the teams that are successful. So Leeds try to be like that. You know, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for Leeds, this is a free season. All they have to do, in my opinion, is make sure they stay in the league, and then next year they look to maybe get into Europe. But they're exciting to watch, and that's the great thing about all the games. You know, the games tonight, Man United Wolves is a big game. You know, it's an exciting game. Leeds West Brom, big game for West Brom. You know, it's every game now seems to have something on it in terms of the result matters really very, very important.
Absolutely, yeah. You spent 4 years in Liverpool. Actually, up until last year, we were saying here that, you know, Peter Biërdsli brought Liverpool their last 2 titles. Of course, it's not only yourself; it was John Barnes and Rush and some other great players. But what's your best, fondest, greatest memory of your time in Liverpool? Unfortunately, due to the European ban, you didn't succeed to play European football at the time. Probably you would have added a couple of trophies to your collection. But what's your greatest memory from your 4 years in Liverpool?
Yeah, so the greatest memory, Andre, would be winning the league in my first season. Not because of me, as you rightly said. John Barnes was amazing. He's the best player I ever played with. He was absolutely sensational. But to win the league in my first season, which is obviously why you go, with all due respect to any club, that's why the big clubs win the trophies. You know, Manchester United, not long after that, had a good spell. Arsenal had a good spell. You know, everybody has a spell, but Liverpool at that time were the best team. You know, when we had John Aldridge, we had Rushy, we had Ray Houghton, we had Ronnie Whelan. Alan Hansen was a brilliant skipper. Bruce Grobler, a brilliant goalkeeper. Kenny obviously was a brilliant manager. We had lots of brilliant people at the club, you know, working in the background, you know, which is what Jurgen's got now. I loved his comment last week when he said, I might not be the best coach, but I have the best coaches with me. And that is really, really a compliment to his staff. And I thought it was really nice and really genuine. So, you know, you have to have everybody pulling together, and that's what Liverpool do. You know, they look as though they've got an amazing spirit, and that's what we had. So there were individuals at other teams that were better than what we had, but as a team, there wasn't a better team than Liverpool.
Great stuff. Let me ask you this one. You also spent 2 very successful years in Everton, and Everton are flying really high this season. What do you make of the current team in Everton and with Ancelotti at the helm and, you know, their season overall? And second question, what's your greatest memory from your time with Everton?
Yeah, it's so I'll do the second part first. It's the biggest part of the memory was scoring the winning goal at Goodison against Liverpool, but not in a nasty way. It was the reason it was really good was there's only 2 people ever done that. and David Johnson was the other one. And that is something that will always be in my history. So that was really, really special. You know, to be fair to Graham Souness, after the game, he was really complimentary and really nice to me. You know, even though he'd sold me, he was really good, and still in touch with him now. A really good man, you know, and obviously one of Liverpool's best ever players. You know, he would have been a superstar in the team that we had, you know, with Ronnie Whelan and Steve McMahon and people like that. Liverpool ever had in my experience in terms of what he did. Terry McDermott, the best number 10 they've ever had, you know, just amazing what they had in his era with Kenny and Kevin before that. You know, obviously, you know Kevin very well. They had some unbelievable players through the history, and now they look as though their front three could damage anybody, you know, and it's just clever how they just keep buying the odd player here and the odd player there, you know, and, you know, buying Jota from Wolves was a master stroke. I know he's injured at the moment, but a master stroke, and Liverpool look as though they're going to be in around the top for a few years yet.
Great stuff. And the current Everton team, are you surprised by their season so far? They seem to be doing really strong.
Yeah, I think the best thing about it, obviously, Calvert-Lewin's doing brilliant. You know, Richarlison's obviously a very good player. You know, James, however you pronounce it, back home where you are, is a really good player. You know, they have really, really good players. Alan in midfield, you know, a brilliant holding midfield player. You know, so Ancelotti, he knows the world market. He knows good players, and to be fair to him, he's made a massive difference. So the players obviously make a difference, but the coach, he's brought good players and has a good way of playing. And to be fair, they had an amazing start to win the first 4 games. You know, they dropped off a little bit, but now, you know, they're very much looking to get into Europe. And where they've been recently, that would be an amazing thing. Even if it's in the Europa League, would be an amazing thing for Everton. So, a great time. Loved Merseyside. Had 6 years there. My 2 children were born on Merseyside. It's a special place for me.
Great stuff. Many people actually forget, or they don't know, that you're one of the few players who played both for Liverpool and Everton and for Man United and Man City, though you played only 1 game for Man United. You were never given a proper chance there. It was the League Cup game against Bournemouth, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And you played also towards the end of your career. You played I think 8 games for Man City. What do you make of the Manchester clubs this season, and how do you see them? Man City, of course, are really, really strong team, 2-time champions in the past 3 seasons. But are you surprised by their form? How do you see them, and how do you see Man United?
I think Man United are back to what they were under Sir Alex, in the sense, Andre, that they play lovely football. You know, they're very attack-minded. They want to score goals. You know, they concede goals, you know, but most teams that play like that, I mentioned Leeds before, the way they play, you know. When you look at that game last week, 6-2, what a brilliant, brilliant game to watch, you know, Leeds and Man United. Really, really exciting game. And I think Solskjaer has done an amazing job. You know, not easy, because everybody keeps wanting him to do this and do that. And when you're at Man United, everybody thinks they know better. But to be fair to him, you know, he's got good staff. He's got Michael Carrick there, who was obviously a brilliant player for Sir Alex, you know. So it's a really good place to be in terms of Man United. But also, I think Cavani's made a massive difference. You know, he looks as though he's a brilliant professional footballer and obviously a brilliant player. And then you look at Man City with Pep. Pep, for me, is the best coach in the world. I honestly believe that. So there are some brilliant coaches. Klopp, as we mentioned, you know, brilliant. But I love Pep. I love everything he believes in. You know, you lose the ball, you get it back. That's what football is, you know, and that's the way it should be. You know, if you have it and you can make a pass forward, an exciting pass forward, then go for it. And I love everything about Man City. You know, they don't always win, but I love what they try to do. I love, at the moment, my favourite player in the Premier League is Bernardo Silva. I love him. I really love what he's done since he came to Man City. Obviously, Pep's helped him, but he's helped himself. And I love it. I love the way he plays, the way he moves the ball, the way he gets it back when he loses it. You know, when you look at him physically, he's not the biggest. but he does a brilliant job for Man City, and I really like him.
I think you kind of, answered my next question. Actually, I have two more questions, and we will finish because I know that you have to go. I was going to ask you: do you see a player today, or let's say in the past 4 or 5 years, that reminds you of, a prime Pitър Биърдсли, like somebody who is similar to you in terms of style? I know you had this unique style, unique dribble, and
I think that's a really hard one, Andre, and the reason it's hard is because that would be big-headed for me to think I was as good as some of the players now. So really awkward, really difficult. I love Bernardo Silva, I love David Silva. Hard for me to say. I couldn't. There's a lot better players than me in the Premier League, but hard for me to say anybody like me because I don't know what I was really like. If you understand what I mean? It's a hard one for me to say, because people say, well, Peter wasn't as good as him or whatever,
Yeah, I watched you. I've watched obviously thousands of YouTube videos, but I've watched you between 93 and 97, and in my humble opinion, you were better than both David Silva and Bernardo Silva. But this is me saying it. It's not you, so it's my words, yeah? Last question, Peter. Thanks a lot, actually, for connecting with us. Can you please reach the Premier League or English football fans in Bulgaria? Because we have fans of clubs which are not in the Premier League. You have a lot of fans of the people of teams lower down the divisions. You have many Nottingham Forest fans. You have even Coventry City fans. I know some. You can imagine every club in England almost has supporters following here in Bulgaria.
And that's great that obviously I was lucky to come over to Bulgaria and spend the night with the Newcastle supporters. Really enjoyed it. Hopefully get the chance to do that again soon when everything gets back to normal. But yeah, every Bulgarian fan of English football, I hope you have a brilliant new year. And I know your Newcastle supporters group in particular, Andre, is obviously close to your heart. Hopefully they have a great 2021 and have a great end to the season.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Have a great 2021 too, and we keep in touch. Once we can travel again, I'm looking forward to welcoming you back in Sofia, hopefully sooner rather than later. All the best to you and your family, and have a great next year, Peter.
Have a great next year, Peter. Thank you very much for your participation. This will make a great present for all the English football fans here in Bulgaria. Have a nice New Year, Steve, from me.
Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody.
Cheers, Peter. All the best. Bye-bye.
No problem, Andre. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.